Hey friends, this is Chris. Welcome back to the channel. So I want to have a chat with you about what the heck is going on in the world these days and how to make sense of any of this stuff. First, there was a really big headline. I want to read it here. I think that was a big one. This is coming from Wall Street. They say, Wall Street thinks U.S. homes are overpriced. I'm sure you guys already know this, but this is actual percentages. Houses could be overvalued by anywhere from 10 to 35% based on how investors are acting. 10 to 35% overvalued in housing. That's what Wall Street's saying. And it's not just that. I mean, you have like the stock market overvalued as well, be it your AIs, your cryptos, etc. Trump and Musk were just inaugurated, right, as co-presidents, you could say. And you just have these massive bubbles in the market. And then you have this crazy uncertainty with Trump. And this is sort of what I want to talk with you guys about. So in my opinion, the main thing I want to take away from this right now is don't overly freak out on any one thing. And don't overly commit on any one thing, because I know how it is, right? You see this whole Trump stuff and you're just like, oh my God, I'm selling everything, I'm leaving the country, and I'm getting the heck out of Dodge, going 100% cash, and for all you know, gonna live with the bank a mattress, right? That kind of thing. It's a joke, of course. Just whatever you decide to do in your life, don't overcommit to anything, right? And act with your reason, not just your emotions. It's very easy to get caught up in what's happening right now. We're all emotional. To be honest with you guys, I read through the news all the day, and I was like, oh my God, it's hard for me to even keep up with all the crazy crap that the Trump and their people are all proposing and signing and do this stuff. And even like, I feel like much of the, if you want to call it mainstream media that way, they're all kind of kissing up the Trump these days, which is, for me, is what's the right word to say? I could say asinine, awful, I guess not doing the job in a way that I would like people to. And what I mean by that, it doesn't mean you have to be antagonistic to any new president coming in, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to like paint everything as being oh my God, he's so awesome, look at all these great things that he's doing. It's not really like that, because if you pay attention to what they're saying, what they're doing, who they're targeting, they're going after the most vulnerable people. And that's the stuff that bothers me the most. And it's up to, in my opinion, the rest of us to look out for the people who are the most vulnerable. I just give you a simple example. They like to, Trump and their buddies like to trash education, that kind of stuff, and they're going to cut funding here and there. Some of the people that's going to affect, it's going to pick students who have special needs. Be it physical or mental or any that kind of thing. And you may have a family member or a friend who is affected by this, and cutting funding to that kind of stuff is awful, to be perfectly frank. These kind of kids, they just have special needs. I'm just giving you one example. Something that people don't talk enough about. And that's the kind of things that I think about, is the people who are the most vulnerable. Or, for example, say a kid has his or her parents they came into, say, the country illegally, and the USA is that they're born there, they're a United States citizen, and that's the only country that they've ever known is USA, and they could be 10, 15 years old, they could be much older than that. They only speak English, right? And this idea of like deporting their whole family back to wherever, and using the military to do it. That's what sort of the Trump is proposing, this kind of stuff. I mean, they keep saying it. That part bothers me also. I understand that there's issues with the immigration system. I'm not stupid, and we have honest conversations about this stuff. And I'm also having an honest conversation about about breaking up families is not a good look. On top of that is, there's a lot of essential jobs out there, be it in the meat industry, be it in agriculture, right? The food. Be it with home construction. You guys know that LA is facing a serious problem after the LA fires. They got to rebuild. You're going to need workers to do these kind of things. Now, whether or not Americans will do these jobs, who knows? It remains to be seen, but that's the sort of stuff we watch. And I think the thing that bothers me is the most about the Trump people is all the stuff that they're doing is frankly self-serving. Meaning that they're going to try to just enrich themselves as much as they can. They'll, throw out these sort of things, we're going to sign this and sign that, and they're going to target vulnerable people, but it's like doing that kind of stuff, it's not actually going to help their MAGA fans at all. It's just not. I'll tell you what the Hmong people have or need, or really everyone needs in the USA. You need affordable housing right now. That's a major problem. I think supporting people with education, healthcare, public transportation. I keep saying this stuff over and over again, right? But offering these kind of things to support people. Now I understand from if you have like a very small point of view of the world, you think, oh, I just need to get paid more, right? I just need to get paid more. But like, okay, let's say for example, in this fantasy world, you get paid a little bit more. But what if all of your costs go up through the roof, right? Did you see like if your wages don't catch up, or what if your boss can do anything that they want to? They can fire you whenever they want. They can tell you to come to work, and if you don't show up, they'll be like, oh, yeah, you're gone. I'm going to easily replace you. That kind of stuff. Like if there's no worker protections or no minimum wages, these kind of stuff. Like this sort of what the Republicans were talking about. I was just looking at today, Trump saying, okay, so I'm going to sign a bill and there's going to be no new regulations ever, and it's like that's not necessarily a good thing. I just give you a simple example. Like what if a company, like say Musk company, comes in and poisons the water somewhere? The reason why you want regulators, and say poison the water in Texas, for example, the reason why you want regulators to come in is, come in and inspect their factories and making sure that they're abiding by the law. And we know this. I've talked to us several times on the channel where, the Musk people over at Tesla, they try to hide their transgressions against the law and basically, tell their workers to lie to the government about what they're doing, be it making the air dirty or the water dirty. Those are the kind of regulations that you want. Or, for example, you want the FTC to protect you from companies cheating you. Or another example, like FDIC, right? The bank insurance stuff, that's a good thing, right? We don't want banks like over-lending and creating massive bubbles, that stuff. I understand, right, from the Republican point of view, is like, cut all that stuff. We don't need anything. We're just going to have the Wild West. The thing is, guys, we went through the great financial crisis before, and we should, learn from our mistakes. We went through you want to talk about like, way back when, the 1930s Great Depression, we lived through that stuff. Like we put a bunch of programs in place, services in place to create safety nets for people so they don't fall through the cracks. We also have regulations in place to make sure that our system, functions properly. We don't want anyone abusing the system. The problem is like the Musk people and all their buddies, it's like Enron 2.0 kind of stuff, right? I personally don't approve of that kind of stuff. I don't want like massive insider trading and these things. We're talking about the markets. And the markets are freaking out as well. It's hard to read the markets right now. So like I just told you, the headline today was housing is overvalued. We know the stock market is overvalued. You just look at the PE ratios, the Shiller PE, right? The price of stocks to how much money companies make. And we know there's a slowdown in China. I keep seeing it. Here in Korea, we're talking about that as well. Like, what the heck's going on in China? Is there real estate meltdown? Is it going to come to the real estate meltdown here? I mean, it's something that we're all concerned about. I think the thing that bothers me most, and I really always try to phrase any of these conversations in terms of just like, how do real people talk, right? Like, just like the honest conversations about stuff. Much of what you'll see on social media or the news, they try to create this dialogue of, two people boxing match, two people fighting, and or two sides fighting, however you want to say it, and you get caught on this like, oh yeah, he hit him with the left hook, and she hit him with the right hook, and he hit back with the uppercut, and it's like, oh my God, it's so cool, and people like to watch this stuff and this drama and things, but it doesn't really make your life better, to be honest. The fighting stuff. What improves your life is like getting the real information that you need to understand the world. That's why I try to go through so many numbers as I can with you guys all the time. Like I just told you, the housing market's overvalued. Was it 10 to 35%? Which it depends on which market that you're in. I can tell you here in Busan, that doesn't sound so crazy. I mean, you could even argue that some of these places are like double where they should be, because like when say I keep reading the news where various companies are laying off, or if they're not laying off, they're just like freezing the hiring. And the other issue, like I'm talking about Korea's situation, but it could be a similar situation in USA. We're watching it. If the credit market freezes up and no one can get a mortgage anymore, right? Then what's going to happen to the housing? Like there's no more buying pressure, so chances are prices will come down. Now, the Korea situation is different than say the U.S. situation, where you guys have a massive lack of affordable housing, and you probably need to rezone a lot of things, in my opinion. I haven't seen any really serious talk about that stuff. Say like turning old commercial buildings into apartments. They're doing it in some cities. That would be one way to alleviate the housing situation. But there's more than just that. There's multiple fixes that we should talk about. I think the problem that people don't have enough honest conversation is like, do you honestly really think the Republican trickle-down stuff's going to work? I mean, that's what their whole premise is based on. Cut regulations, give all the money to Musk, let him go to Mars, and then by him going to Mars and building his rockets that blow up in the sky and make some great fireworks, I guess, that's somehow going to trickle down to you. I think these people are so out of touch. It's frankly insane. And I know from many people's point of view, you just kind of want to make those bold, drastic moves in your life, because you're kind of emotional right now. And I understand, guys. I really do. I'm reading this stuff every day, and I'm just like, what the heck are these people doing? Are they insane? And are the people who vote for these people also insane? It's like, 49% of the country insane. That's what I keep wondering myself. And one answer that kind of keeps coming back to me is I feel like a lot of people out there in the USA don't have imagination. They can't imagine a different way. And I'll give you an example. And I know the election's over, but I just want to understand, like, my point of view on this stuff is that for some people, they just can't even imagine what it would be like to have a female president. It's not even in their imagination, right? And so they're like, well, Trump was my only choice because I can't imagine someone else not looking like Trump, like someone else being, of a different sex, or someone else being a different, skin shade. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine someone being different than someone like an old guy like Trump. And that part always really bothers me about the U.S. culture. I was hoping we would move beyond that, to be perfectly frank. I know that many of us have. I honestly do. I know many of us have. One of the things I was thinking about, if you guys watch the college football championship, the coach, I think his name is Marcus, I want to say. I can't remember his last name, but his mom is actually Korean. And it's funny because the news kept promoting, Marcus, I think that's his name, is the head coach in Notre Dame, as being just, a Black American, but he's Black and he's also Korean. He has a mixed descent, and this is sort of like many families. It's not just his family. Many families in USA have different marriages of different groups of people coming together. How can I say it? It is. I'm not sure many of you have this experience in your family of different types of people that join your family, right? People get married from all different types of places or backgrounds, and it changes the way that in the discussion of how we should talk about what makes up a person, right? And this idea that we, categorize people as only being one thing is kind of ridiculous in this day and age, right? People speak multiple languages. People can have different parents of different backgrounds. You could have more than just two. You can have, grandparents from different places, et cetera. And I was just thinking, we were going to move beyond that sort of like, we'll just call it black and white discussion in the USA. There's a lot of different groups out there in the USA, a lot of different religions, a lot of different belief systems. And I'm just hoping this whole Trump stuff, people will see it for what it really is, the stuff they're trying to do. We just saw the whole salute thing that Elon Musk did, right? And I just hope this is the last generation of where we're even having these conversations anymore about, this kind of crazy stuff. One of the things that I was thinking about going forward, especially with the younger generation, like many of them, I understand how they feel. I can understand. They're just like, I'm so sick of these old politicians. They don't care about me. They don't understand me. So therefore, I'm not going to participate. I think that's the wrong way to think. You should participate. You should also pay attention, because even though maybe you're not going to get all the changes that you want in the world today, you got to think in terms of, small steps, small incremental moves. The same way you think about building a security for yourself and your future, right? Maybe the dream place that you want to live isn't going to come tomorrow, but you keep working towards your goal and you stay realistic about that. I write about this stuff in my book. It's called Positive Angle. You can find it on Amazon. But these are sort of the big themes that are in my book. And a lot of people ask me, Chris, what is your secret to staying young, happy, and stuff like that? It's this stuff. I don't fill myself with a bunch of, how can I say, like, nonsense, and don't waste my time too much with, like, say, for example, we're talking about the news every day about, who fought who and who said what about who, et cetera. Because, the news has a lot of that stuff. I focus right on the stuff that really matters, and sort of, even if, say, the world isn't going in your favor today, at least understand why it's not. Understand how you can control things that are in your control. You can't control everything in the world. You can't. It's just how it is. But there's always going to be opportunity out there. There's always going to be something for you to do, and there's always going to be something new for you to learn. So one of the ways that I, keep going forward and stay positive is I'm just always staying active. So for me, guys, just having discussion with you daily is really healthy for me. Even if no one watched, like I just have to get things off my chest, and that's what I'm thinking about today. Is to make it through these times. Imagination. Imagine a better world. Imagine us moving forward in ways that includes everyone, not just a few people. And that's because for the Trumps and the mess, that's kind of what they want. They want to get rid of that DI stuff, what they call it, which, in my opinion, just means that, hey, instead of only looking at one group of people, try to look at everybody. Try to open up your mind and try to imagine what it'd be like to have different types of people in the world that all contribute. I think, my honest opinion, I think the Trump stuff will implode on itself. They basically collected the largest, collection of, you want to call it butt kissers, ring kissers and grifters and self-serving people in history. And that usually doesn't end well, because none of these people are really team players. They're all kind of me players. And, I'll be honest with you, I think there'll be some things that they'll do to the country and the world that could be quite damaging. But remember, they only got 49%. They didn't get the majority, and not everyone is freaking crazy in this world, right? I'm just showing you guys, where I'm at. I'm in Korea. We're all just enjoying the weather. I'm just showing people on the other side of me are just going out for a jog. You can see them right over there. Yeah, they're just going out for a run. Whoops, I want to drop the camera there. Yep, there they go. But not everyone's freaking all the time. And sometimes what you have to do too is, if you want to, try to make it better in this world, is just get out for a walk, get some fresh air, and hang out with people that have positive things to say, and sort of lift you up as much as you can. I try my best to do that, guys. That's why I show up with a smile every day. And for me, I like the idea of living in a global village. I think that's one thing I really enjoy about our channel and our community. If you don't know, lately it's been about 53% of our audience is from the U.S. That means 47% is international, from all kinds of countries. Like, I can tell when I read from comments and stuff like that. And also, I really appreciate it. It makes me feel like I'm not alone in this world, when I know that not everyone out there is freaking crazy and is a cult worshiper of Trump or Musk. And we're still going to make fun of them. We're still going to make jokes, of course, when it's appropriate. I understand today. I'm the same way you guys are. I'm a little bit emotional about stuff happening, and not in a good way. I'm just like, oh my God, who wants to go back to this Trumpy world? And they're literally out like selling their crypto coins, trying to get rich. It's so ridiculous, right? But this is sort of why we call this stuff out, because one of the things that people say, Chris, how do you do it every day? I just tell the truth. That's all I have to do. I don't have to concoct anything. I don't have to make these some crazy narratives. The people right now, say on the Musk side, they have to come up with all of these, crazy reasons of how Musk didn't give the salute that we all saw. Dude, we all saw it, right? I have eyes, you have eyes, and so they're the ones who, it's on them, and they stress out from not telling the truth, essentially. And that's one of the things that if you really want to have a healthy life, relationships, work, anything in your life, is be honest with yourself, be honest with other people, and you'll find that life will be a lot better. One thing that I have learned is that people appreciate it, is that even if the news isn't great, right? People just want to hear the truth. Just tell me what's going on. If something bad happens at work, and maybe, just for example, maybe your job isn't going so great, and your spouse says, hey, what's wrong? And if you pretend like everything's fine at work and don't tell them the truth, that's not a good thing. You got to tell them the truth, right? Today at work, my boss said blah blah blah, and kind of really upset me. It happens. You guys know this. You have a boss that upsets you. It happens. Tell the truth about what happened, right? And you'll feel a lot better with that way, and it takes a great weight off your shoulders. And so, we're going to keep track of the markets. I'll make another video when figuring out what the markets do today. Right now, I'm just kind of taking a break. It's a holiday in the USA. It's a MLK and Day of Martin Luther King. We had the Trump inauguration. It was really cold there, and I don't know what the heck was Melania wearing. That was pretty crazy. It's like this weird hat. It's like people were saying it was like a Michael Jackson kind of hat outfit, which is, hey, nothing wrong with Michael Jackson. He just, you know, he had a cool fashion and all like that. Yeah, it just seemed kind of strange. Like he wasn't showing your eyes. I don't know. I don't know. See, I'm still gonna make fun of him. But you know, I'll just say this. And I want to go back to the first point. Is just you know, whatever you decide to do in your life, just make sure you take a deep breath. Make sure you're making decisions, right? Not with your emotions, but with your mind. And also, too, you have a great community here to discuss things that are happening and trying to navigate this crazy world, because even stuff that I see every day, it's hard to tell what's real and not real in this world. So anyway, I just wanted to have a chat with you, get some things off my chest, and take care. So thanks again, and I'll see you guys on the next video.